Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is what I wrote for the inheritance.
Okay.
So basically, I don't. The inheritance, like we use like the same name, and but I have a different method inside it, and it'll still work. Then we can use this extends keyword.
Okay.
So basically, we could inherit whatever inside one of your methods,
Mm-hmm.
basically.
Mm.
So over here, I did so I made class inheritance, and then inheritance has addition and subtraction, and then I
Okay.
made a class called calculator, and then I extended that with inheritance. So everything that inheritance has inside these two
Right.
is now can be used in my calculator class as well.
Right.
And in my calculator class, I have multiply. And
Mm-hmm.
then over here, my main method, I don't know why I got this, but in my main method, I basically
Okay.
um,
So I know.
made
Yeah. Perfect. I know why you got the error. There cannot be one class inside another class. Okay. There will be only one class in one .java file. Okay.
because I have to make this and another
Yes.
tab
Yeah. You
basically.
have to. You have to put another .java called calculator,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Then
all this will be set.
okay,
Yeah.
and then I think I did abstraction. Not yet. Yes, abstraction is like where it's kind of like a method. Like you can make it private, but still it could be abstract, so it won't be visible.
Mm-hmm.
But I was searching online, and they had this method where it's like you have an idea. It's like you have an idea if you want to do something, you know. So I put a gym for myself, so
Mm-hmm.
I have to go to gym, you know.
Right.
And then my other goals or ideas that I have is to eat less and work out, but
So
I haven't accomplished any of them, or I don't know how to do them yet.
okay. So
So and so
you're basically giving a structure to a task, but you do not know what is inside it. You're giving just a
yeah,
simple structure. Okay. And here also you have used three classes in one Java file,
yeah.
right? And then the next thing I want to tell you. Yeah, so do we use the keyword extend or do we use implements?
Or do we use implements?
No, I'm checking with you if uh,
Oh,
we use implements or extends. What do we use?
over here I use extend because in this idea, right? I already had gym, which I basically says go to gym, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then these two ideas, they have nothing in them. So to complete that, I basically extended this class Ubad, and then in this class Ubad new,
Okay.
I made
Yeah,
I made use of the idea of each S.
wonderful. Makes sense. Yeah.
Give me 1 second. Nephew is here. I gotta take him outside real quick.
Mm.
Go outside. Go outside. Go outside. Was you going to come? And then we go outside. So not fun. Yeah, sorry about that.
No. Here.
Yeah, so and then yeah, so then I applied the EAT class, and I basically used the EAT class over here.
Right. You gave the definition.
And
You gave the definition of the class.
yeah, right.
Right.
And the next step would be to use workout, and I would create another class maybe and do the workout, or I could even do it over here in this class and give workout basically a meaning to it or something. But then at the same time, what I learned online was that by making an abstract class, you're able to basically call all these methods at one time instead of I'm not sure how to really use it, but it said you could use all of these methods at once instead of writing each thing out like one by one to make life easy.
Right.
But I think that's the next step to this class, right? To abstraction.
Right. So whenever you know the implementation, you start writing its implementation. But you keep a framework
Right.
inside an abstract class because you do not know its
Right.
implementation. Right. Yeah.
And
So you have polymorphism
I didn't
and overriding.
I didn't do that, I guess. I don't have that
Okay.
here.
Maybe theory. Maybe theory. Or
Polyform, I think that's when isn't that the same thing as being able to use like you could write like inheritance. I don't really write it, but isn't that like where you have like one method, like this is called public void addition, and this will be public void addition as well. But if you have two different formulas in there, like does that make it a polyformism? Because you can use it even though it has the same name to it.
no, it doesn't make any difference what you did.
No?
And what it counts is the name, addition, and what is the first argument? It is int. What is the second argument? It is int. Okay, that is what it counts. It doesn't matter whether you change the name of the argument. Okay, you made BC into EF, but still it is the same definition, right? Addition, comma, addition, arguments integer, integer. Addition, arguments integer,
Mm.
integer. So it doesn't make any difference. So how do you get the difference out of it? So either you change the integer to some other data type, or you increase the number of arguments.
So you mean like change it to like a string or
Yeah. Addition
so that's
string,
what
addition of string, otherwise addition of int, and one more int, 3 integers. Okay.
also put one more int.
And put the name as addition, right? And put it as addition. That's all. Then both are valid. So one
Right.
name, different arguments. The number of arguments might be same, but the data type should be different.
Mm.
The number of arguments might be different. Two scenarios. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. So this is called as method overloading also. Okay.
Right.
Alright. And then now you have uh, inheritance. In inheritance. So using the same program, can you explain method overriding?
So that's the same that
Mm.
we did over here.
This is method overloading alias polymorphism. There is one more thing called method overriding.
Overriding.
Right? Yeah, Java overriding. Okay,
Oh, that's what.
maybe yeah, maybe you can go through it for tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. It's like the parent class. It's kind of like the inheritance, but with the parent class and the child class, right?
Yeah,
That's what.
something called
Because,
inheritance, and then
yeah.
inside the child class,
Yeah. So you have,
you will repeat the method. You will repeat the method,
mm-hmm.
the arguments, the name, the type of arguments, the data types, everything is same, but the code inside the method will change. Maybe you can go through it today and go through both of them, like overriding, polymorphism and overriding, and you can come up with an example tomorrow. Okay?
Okay.
It's okay. We can discuss from another 10 minutes tomorrow. Okay, I'll move
Yeah.
on to Nazir and make him the presenter. Okay.
Okay, I cannot go on the screen as Ubaid because I didn't work on that coding side. I just try to grasp an idea of
No problem.
encapsulation interface and the packages.
No problem.
Right.
You may
So
open the web pages, the website, and explain. You may simply go over the website and explain
right,
whatever you have understood in theory, not in code, but in theory. Okay? Right.
right. You got my screen? Hello,
No,
Anusha, you hear me?
no, no, we haven't got.
Okay. It's connecting. I don't know why, but I just studied that interface is an interface is like it says in Java is a blueprint of a class, and it has two parts: static constant and abstract methods. And for the static constants, a constant in Java is used to map an exact and unchanging value. A variable may be to a variable. And the abstract method is an abstract, it is declared like an implementation of we call it
No.
certain.
The topics given to you were encapsulation, interface, and packages, right?
Right. So I started with the interface
Okay.
or encapsulation. Is like you told us that is a process of wrapping code and data together into a single unit. Okay.
So,
Like you give us an example of mixed medicine in one capsule.
so what do you call that single entity in which we have data and methods? What do we call that single entity?
With the data and
The methods, the functions.
with the data and code is called encapsulation.
Right. So how do you represent encapsulation in code? By using which keyword? There is one specific keyword which you use to show that you have encapsulation.
That I didn't get.
Yeah. So
I didn't.
you make your data as private, and you put together the data and code in a single unit. Okay. Apart from that, you make your data as private and access the data using the code or methods. Okay, so you have to make them private. Private is the keyword which you
For encapsulation.
which you use to implement encapsulation. You have to put private in front of data, not in front of the code, not in front of the methods. You have to put it in front of the variables.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
And then it's package. Okay. Java package is a group of similar type of classes,
Okay.
interfaces, and subpackages. And we can categorize these packages in two forms, like built-in packages and user-defined package.
Right. Okay.
And we use Java. It is a built-in package.
All right.
And it is used to categorize the classes and interfaces so that they can be easily maintained.
All right.
And the Java package provides the access of protection as well.
Okay.
So, and how we get it into code with all this information I need to learn. Then I had a interface, which did already.
Okay. All right. So Nazir will prepare on the remaining two topics, and you will
Okay.
prepare using the code. Okay. And you have done through theory good. So after the theory, to get into a little bit of practicals, please represent those three functionalities in code using some code and simple examples.
Okay. The same encapsulation interface and packages.
Yes, same thing.
Okay.
And then, okay. Yeah, so do you guys have any doubts regarding the test cases which I have sent?
No, those are more clear, and we can compare ours with, and we can find out the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And if we made mistakes,
Sure. So no doubts on that?
that will help us.
Any no queries? No queries regarding that, right?
So that clears very, very good.
Okay. All right. So okay. Now let's move on to the basics of Java. Okay. So and when learning the basics of Java, we can also practice using this or any of the screens which you are using. Like in W3 resources, you guys are practicing, right? Even there is an editor over there, and when you click on run button,
Right.
it will run.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So for example, you have this. So you have an editor here. You write whatever program you want and then click on run. It will give you an output the like below the run. Okay. You can practice it in this page or else you can practice it in this page also. Okay. Yeah. So first starting with
Do they have? I'm sorry, Mr. So do this page have all those coding practices for and calculation interface and packages
no, they don't have.
and all those three which Uber is doing?
One second, guys. Yeah, you're asking something, Nazir?
Yeah, I was asking if the website we are working on, do they have the practice coding practice places for those specific targets we have for those topics?
Yeah, they have abstract classes, interface, and inheritance. Okay, they have practice sessions for
Okay.
these three. They they do not have for the remaining.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, anyone would simply start with getting an output. One would love to see something come, right? I want to see some output first, right? Even when working on
Right.
complicated programs, I'll want to see if it is giving correct result in a middle point of my calculation. I have a very complex formula, like we were seeing the other day, sine, cosine, and all. Okay, then but finally, after writing the entire code, I see that something went wrong with my code. Okay, for example, I have something like, okay, then I want to find the average of these three numbers. So I will take a plus b plus c. Okay. Then,
Mr. Krishna, is it possible to enlarge your screen little bit?
oh, is it not visible?
It's very small.
Just a second. Yeah. Uh, so I have this. Then I will say I want to print sum. Then print average equal to sum divided by 3. Then I will again want to print average to see if it is calculating correctly or not. Okay. My final target may not be printing. Okay. My final target might be a more complicated program. After calculating average, I might want to calculate percentage and so on and so forth. But I want to make sure that at this point there is nothing wrong, and up to this point it is working fine. So I usually would want to print it to the console to see if it is working. Okay, so I'll run it. When running this code, now I'm printing sum in the first place. So I'm seeing 60 as a result here. So 10, 20, 30, which is 60. So till here, everything is working fine. Okay, up to here. Once this is working fine, I want to check if my next steps are working fine. So I added one more print statement, which printed 20, which is nothing but 60 by 3, which is 20. So that means it is working fine till here. Okay, then I will remove these statements. Okay, and then start working on my next item. Whatever the calculation is, I'll start working on it. Okay, so this is the use of print statement. You never usually print anything in console. What you print is just to check whether you're doing it correct or not. Okay, so people usually start with the print statement. Print statement lets you understand what you're doing, and you know the print statement. Going to the next. So variables, and as you guys have seen, there are some data types.
At any stage during the code, we can write a print statement to see the result.
Yes, at any point in time, you can write a valid print statement to see what is being stored in the given variable. You want to store a number, you want to store a string, anything you can store, and you can print it to see what it is being stored and if it is being stored correctly or not. Okay, all right. And like we have seen int, we have three other data types. Okay, we have declared a variable int a equal to 10. Okay, which means a is going to store int. Okay, int my number. It means my number will store only int. Okay, if I write str my number, it means my number will store only string. It will not store anything else, and if you try to store something else, it will throw an error saying that data type mismatch. Okay, so these are the types of data you have. These are the basic, these are called primitives. Okay, for example, we have a lot of words in English, but still we need alphabet to form any words. So to do anything in Java, first we need the primitives, which are the basis for the Java. I mean, what do we do in programming? It's nothing but we are going to process some sort of data, right? We do hundreds of operations on an information that you have to analyze it and to make it useful. So any programming language, anything, you're basically working with data. And where do you store data? You store data in variables. How do you declare variables? You have to declare variables in this format by providing a data type to the variable. So without data type, we cannot do anything. So the data type is most important, and these are the list of data types and how much they can contain, how much information they can store. Okay, a byte, it is the basis for everything. Okay, so a byte is nothing but it will store 1 byte. Okay, short short can store 2 bytes. Int can store 4 bytes. Long can store 8 bytes. Okay, then we have boolean. Boolean is like true or false. And what is byte? Byte is a combination of 8 bits. Okay, bit can be 0 or 1. It cannot be anything else. Bit is 0 or 1. So 8 bits together make a byte. Bit is the basis even for byte. Okay. So we form so
Okay,
many.
Mr. Rasha, you say the data is stored in variables, and variables are uh, for in specific formation. So,
Mhm.
could you please explain this one a little bit? So, how when we store data in variables, and then variables are in a specific form. So, what is that?
Yeah. So I have a string like a jumping fox. Okay. This is a word which contains alphabets. Okay. So
Correct. That is a string.
it is a string. So if I want to store this,
Right.
I have to store this in the form of an array of characters, right? It is a string, but a set of characters
Right.
end of the day. Okay.
Correct.
So any complex data type is a combination of basic data types, and these are the basic data types. Okay. And for example, we have the integer 1. Okay, this one 1, we have the integer 1. Just a second. Um, yeah, so you have the integer 1. Okay, the integer 1, it has to store a number. Okay, but the integer 1 will be stored only if you tell storage. The storage can be something like your hard disk, your RAM. Okay,
Mhm.
you have to tell the storage that it is an integer and it will take a certain amount of memory. I told my computer that my variable a is an integer. Okay, when I tell it, it assumes that a will need 4 bytes of space. It will need 4 bytes of space, which is nothing but 32 bits. Bits is a combination of ones and zeros.
Zeros.
Yeah. How do a computer know 1 and 0? It basically works on electricity, right? When you pass a voltage of 5 volts to a specific unit, it assumes it as 1. Okay, and if you pass no voltage, it assumes it as 0. Okay, and there is nothing between, there is nothing above like half or one fourth and all. There is only 0 or 1. So 1 2 3 4 5 6
Correct.
8, this is equal to 0, this is equal to 1, this is equal to 2. That means you do not pass any voltage. This means you pass voltage in the last. This means you pass voltage in the middle. Okay, so these will give you the integers. Okay, and this is equal to 255. Okay, so you have to mention these data types so that it will understand how much memory it should allocate to the given variable. So a is my variable. If I say integer, it will allocate 4 bytes of memory in my RAM. And if I say x is a string, okay, I have to define the number of characters inside the string. If I just simply give string, it will not work. Okay, I have to give the number of characters inside the string. Okay, then I will say S is a character. What is a character? A character is going to use 2 bytes. Okay, and it will store any alphanumeric and symbols. It will store anything, but only one. It can store 1, it can store 2, it can store 3, A, B, C, D, or exclamation mark, at the rate, hash, pound, dollar, percentile, anything. But it will store only one item because you have defined it like that. And if you try to push more into it, Java will throw an error saying that you have defined it as a character, you can take only one, and you are trying to push so many things into it. I do not have memory to keep it. I have given S a small memory, but you are pushing a lot of stuff into it. So please check what you're pushing into it and then edit your program and get back. So that error will be thrown. So basically, in order to allot some memory to your variable, you have to declare the data type. Okay, does it make clear?
Right. Right. That's good. Great.
Okay.
I understand.
So double is going to take 8 bytes, which means double D equal to 4.5. This will take up 8 bytes. Okay, double 3.0. It will take up 8 bytes. It can store only up to 8 bytes. It cannot store more than that. Okay, and then characters and character is a primitive data type, but string is not a primitive data type. String is an array of characters, a set. Okay, set, set, a combination. You'll combine many characters to form a string. Okay, so if you want to declare blank string in Java, you have to declare it in the form of arrays. Okay, so you will be declaring string a equal to something, some information, right? So it is basically a collection of multiple letters. Okay, then you have boolean. Boolean is nothing but true or false. It will take only one bit. It will take only one bit, either 0 or 1. Okay, true is 1, false is 0. So boolean takes only two things, 0 or 1. Okay, and then going to the next. Now that we have multiple data types and we have the understanding on how to store data into the given data type, what do we do with the data? We will obviously have to work with the data, right? We have to check if the data is correct. We have to combine the data to get another different result. Then we have to compare the data at times, and then we have to put some conditions on the data, like if this is the data, then do this. If this is the data, then do this, right? So we have to do some data processing. In order to do some data processing, we need an insight into how to do it. So in the scenarios what we discussed, okay, if something is like this, do this. If something is like this, do this. Okay, we have scenarios on if. So if is a condition, right? So we have conditionals or conditional statements to work with. So we need how to work with conditional statements. That's why we have the conditional section. In the conditional section, we have if, and we have while, we have if else. If is nothing but simple in general English. What do you say? If I have a pen, I'll not ask you. If I have a book, I will start writing into a book. Right? If, then condition, then action. Okay. So there needs to be some syntax for a machine to understand because it cannot understand literal English. So we defined a specific syntax like this. Okay. You write a if, then you open parenthesis, then you write your condition inside the parenthesis and close the parenthesis. Okay, you have if, you have condition, now you have to write action. Okay, what is the action to be performed when your condition is met? If my condition is met, I have to perform this action, and you have to put the action inside the flower bracket, because we will be writing hundreds of statements. Okay, but it should be able to distinguish which are the actions based on my conditional clause. Okay, even I have this, I have so much. After this, I can have another operation like a plus b in C equal to a plus b, then system dot out dot println C. Okay, and if b is greater than 0, okay, if condition and action. If I do not give the parenthesis, how would my program understand that it has to execute only one statement in relevancy to the given condition? It won't understand, right? So you put that set of code into one parenthesis. Like what you do, you divide your subject into paragraphs, you divide your subject into points and write. To differentiate one point from the other point, you put bullet points, you put numbers, or else you put paragraphs to distinguish one piece of information from another piece of information. So similarly here, if you want to distinguish between the bits of code, you have to put them inside flower brackets. Okay, so this is all my code which has to come under the class main. So I have put a starting parenthesis here and a closing parenthesis here. If at all I had put a closing parenthesis here itself, okay, instead of here, I'll put a closing parenthesis here itself. Then it means my main function has only this much of code, and my main class has this much of code. This is a code which is not related to anything. Okay, so it will throw an error saying that you have a unused chunk of code which will never be used. Okay, so whatever you want to do, you have to put it inside flower brackets and then do what you want to do. Okay, so this is if, this is condition, and this is action based on the condition. Similarly, you will have an option. For
So
example,
condition could be different than than the print, or
this is
it's always
this is
condition
action.
is print condition.
No, this is action. This action can be anything. You can write instead of this,
So yeah,
if
I'm sorry. Yeah, action.
if my if my b is greater than 0, okay, if my b is greater than 0, then my action has to be something like int b equal to B multiplied by B. Okay. Then C equal to A plus D. Maybe. Okay. Else D equal to 0. Okay. I might do anything. For example, uh, your mom will send you to a grocery store and she will say, if you get so and so brand, get this. Else, if you do not get an item belonging to this brand, get the next brand. Right?
Okay.
So you have an
Okay.
if-else condition there. If you find a big piece of paper, get me the big piece of paper. Otherwise, get me a small one at least. So, if condition
Okay.
and action, what if the condition fails? I want you to do something if the condition fails. So that will come under else. This is your alternate action. So if condition, then here comes the action. So this is your if, then this is your condition. Okay. Then you have action here, the highlighted part. Once you have the action, this will be your alternate action. Okay, so alternate action will come into else. Then you might have another situation like if you get a big sheet of paper, get me a big sheet of paper. Otherwise, get me a small sheet of paper. Okay. If you're unable to find the small sheet of paper also, then go to a different shop and get me a big piece of paper. Right. So you have a three alternate statements here. Okay. So if you get big paper, okay, get big paper. Else, if okay, you get small paper, get small paper. If you don't have both, else go to a different store, right? So you might be having like multiple conditions here. In that case, you will be using if else, and you can combine one more if else and one more if else and so on. So in the conditional, you have a simple if statement. Okay, then you have if and else like this. Okay, then you will be having multiple if else. Okay.
So at what stage we should put the final logic or final code to get the result? I mean, if it says if the first one is if you get a big paper, get big paper. Right. And then we say else. I mean, if no don't, then you get the small paper and get the small paper.
Yeah.
So if then is another, so we can get the output code at every else condition, or we
No.
have to keep going.
No. It will your code will come here and hit this. Once it hits it, it will check for the condition. If the condition is true, it will go inside this and execute this and simply come to the last of the if else. So
Okay.
this entire thing
Okay,
is my
that's
if
great.
else.
Yeah.
Okay, then if my first condition is not met, it is not met. It is false. It will go to second. This is true. This is
Okay.
true. So it will go inside this and come here. It will not even look into what is this. Okay, so it will
Okay.
come sequentially as you have written. First one, this, success, come to the last. Failure, go here and come to the last. Like that. Okay,
Right. Got it.
right. So this are the conditional statements. Then you have verified conditions. And you have scenarios in where, for example, I want to know my height, okay, and I want to know my sibling's height. Alright, so I will uh, go to my program and I will say int my height equal to some 5.6. Then int, sorry, it's not int, it's a float. Sorry for my mistake. So float my sibling's height equal to 5.7, right? And there are scenarios when I want heights of all the members in my family, and there are 20 members in my family. Okay, for that I don't want to declare so many variables. Okay, instead I will do like this: float my family height equal to, I will write 5.6, 5.7, 5.5, 5, 5.5, 5.4, 4, 4.5, and so on up to 20 members, right? So
Okay.
an array is collection of simple data types. These are the primitive data types, right? I want to collect some 20 of primitive data types. So I will take them and put them inside square brackets. It becomes an array. Simple. Okay. Array is collection of primitive data types. So in order to write an array, this is the syntax. Okay. And
Okay, Ms. Anusha, is it necessary to start these conditions or arrays right after method, or we can start it right after class as well?
we can start after class as well. Okay. But then
Okay.
you will have
So
to
what will be the difference if
you will have to give it a specifier here, public or private or protected. You have to give any of these three access specifiers if you are using it
okay.
inside class. And if you're not giving anything, by default it is private. Okay, like this. This is assumed
Okay.
if you're not giving anything. You can declare here as well, because class is a binding of data and work. Okay, we have data. Once we have data,
And what is the benefit if we start with the method statement?
okay,
Is there
so
any
I don't
special
keep,
benefits?
yes, I keep my data outside here. Okay, float a equal to 1.5 something. I kept my data outside. I have one method, public float uh, alpha, for example. Okay, then here I want to say like print a by 2, for example, and then I have one more method like beta, which says a by 3. So I'm using the variable a here and here. I'm using it multiple times. Okay, so if I declare it here, like float a equal to 1.6, if I declare it here, then this method will not be able to access this. Okay, so if you're declaring something inside these brackets, then it becomes a local variable. The scope of the variable and the reach, the place where the variable can be seen is limited to the flower brackets that surround it. Okay, this is the flower bracket that is surrounding this, and this is the flower bracket. So this guy will not be accessible outside this flower bracket. Inside the flower bracket you can do anything with a, but this a will not be accessible. Okay, so if I want to access this guy outside this function, I mean I want to access this guy inside another function, then I will have to put it outside so that its scope is changed, and its scope is between this flower bracket and this flower bracket. Okay, so the variable's scope is limited to the flower brackets that surround it. Since I want to access it,
So that's why we use method and after the class. So method is accessible to any of a class underneath.
yeah, any code underneath, we can access the variables and methods. So we declare them inside the class. Okay.
Okay,
Uh,
that's great.
yeah, and we were discussing that I have 20 member family. Okay, so the size of my family height array will be 20. Okay, so I want to declare like this: float if you see here, this will be your syntax: float my family height equal to new float of 20. Okay, new is the keyword which says allocate a fresh memory in the RAM or the hard disk by the name of this variable. Okay, allocate new memory, and what should that memory contain? It should contain float. And what is the size of the memory that I want to allocate? The size will be 20 multiplied by the size of float. The size of float is 8. So 8 into 20. That size of memory will be allocated to this. Okay. So arrays are used to store multiple primitive types. Once I have declared it, I can directly write like this: my family height equal to blah 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 up to 20. What if I give 21? It will throw an error. What if I give only 19? Then also it will throw an error. You have to give it 20 at any cost. Okay. But here, because here you have declared 20, you have to give 20 values here. If you don't give 20 values here, it will throw absurd errors, right?
Right.
So that is it about arrays. What is the next thing? Okay, not to overload, let's
Yeah,
look at
please.
the remaining topics tomorrow. Okay, so today we have
Okay.
been looking at 4 topics. How to print a hello world. Hello world is nothing but how to print a statement and why to print a statement. Why do we print? Because we want to see intermediary results. We want to understand what's happening inside the code. So we try printing in the middle of the code. Okay. Then variables and data types, primitive data types. Then conditions. We have hundreds of conditions in our life. So to implement those conditions, we have if, else, if else, if else, I mean multiple if else statements, or you can call it else if. Okay, then you have if else, and inside if you can write one more if. Inside if else, you can write one more if else. Okay, that is called nested if. Then you have arrays. Arrays are nothing but collection of similar items which
Characters.
belong to a single primitive data type. No, collection of primitive data types. And you cannot combine different data
Okay.
types. For example, you cannot write like this. I will write A, then I will write 1.2, then I will write 10, then I will write Anusha. You cannot combine like this. Okay. An array should contain only one type, either character or float or int or string. Only one type it can contain. It cannot contain
Okay.
multiple. So array is a collection of multiple variables which belong to the same data type. Okay. So that's about these 4 topics.
Okay. In this case, if you have any result which to be printed, like F10 or two 1.8 or something mixture. So is that possible to print like that or is not?
Yeah, it is possible to print. Okay. But like this 5. Hello world 5. Okay. So
Right. That can be printed. Okay.
what actually happens is Java will convert this. I mean, you have 2 data types. Okay. For example, you have 1.2 and then you have 10. Okay. 10 is an integer. It will occupy only 4 bytes. And 1.2
Right.
is a float and it will occupy
Float.
8 bytes.
Right.
Right. So Java will
Right.
convert both of them into float. If you write like this, it will convert the
Okay.
lower format into higher format. Higher is nothing but something which occupies more data. Okay.
Correct.
So
Right.
it will convert an integer into a string and add it to the string. It will convert an integer into a float and add it to the float. Okay.
Okay.
For example, you have 9.9 and then if I run, let's see what the final result is. It is 14.9, which is
Right.
not an
Correct.
integer, it is a float. So it has taken the
Right.
format of the higher order. Okay. And
Okay.
you can combine
Great.
formats by simply using plus, and Java will convert the formats automatically. Valid question.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So 4 topics done, and inside
Okay.
each of the topic, you will have an exercise to complete. Okay. There is an exercise.
Okay.
Create all of the primitive types except long and double with different values. Okay. Concatenate them into a string.
Okay.
Concatenate is nothing but addition, like one after the other. Append. Okay.
Yeah, the first
All
one.
right. Okay.
All right. So this is what you have asked actually. H3110 W0R1. Okay. So similarly,
Okay.
you'll be having exercises after each of them to try to finish those exercises, right? And
Okay.
if you have any doubts, please let me know. Okay. So tomorrow you have 2 tasks. One is practice these exercises. The other one is prepare for object-oriented concepts, right?
Okay.
Otherwise what? Object-oriented what?
Uh, these concepts, object-oriented concepts, you could not do polymorphism and overriding, and he did only theory part and he could not complete the code part. So both of you will be completing the code part for the
Okay.
remaining topics.
Alright.
Right?
Okay.
Okay, guys. We'll catch up for tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.